What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Quite recently Riot announced something that I actually thought was going to be a pretty big deal and a lot of people would talk about it, but a few days have gone by and it's kind of surprising to see that no one seems to be talking about it actually. So let me be the one to start the conversation, as in a recent Ask Riot post a couple of days ago, Riot officially announced that voice chat will be coming to League of Legends in some form eventually. For the longest time, Riot's had a fairly stubborn stance on voice chat with the mindset of simply just choosing not to implement it into the game, with the fear that the negatives a voice chat system might bring would outweigh the positives. And I guess it's surprising that this isn't being talked about more, because as far as I know, this is the first official time that Riot has declared pretty much that voice chat will finally be coming to League of Legends sometime in the future. So the direct post from Riot starts with the question, if you value competitive team play so much, why are you against voice chat? It would really make games more coordinated. And the official response to that specific question was in the post, which they said, and I quote, "In the past, our stance on voice comms emphasized the increased potential for negative behavior. We've since reconsidered our philosophy around voice chat, and while there are some challenges we want to overcome, keeping it an opt-in experience for example, we do want to do it. We believe League as a team sport should reward coordination, and that voice chat is a valuable tool for getting teams and strangers aligned. We'll probably begin deeper investigations once the League client update is in a stable release, so we don't have to build the feature twice, but hopefully this is a clear update on our philosophy and where we stand. We'll also give you further updates when the time comes." Now there's a couple things you can take from this post. First off, it's pretty clear that voice chat will definitely be coming eventually. Just not for a while. I would probably guess not until at least next season maybe, or perhaps until the client update. As well, when it does get implemented, it's going to be an opt-in experience, meaning that it will be completely optional to use for everyone. The interesting thing to me, which I kind of mentioned a little bit in a previous video, is that Riot was actually developing a voice chat system during the actual beta of League of Legends, but it was scrapped because they decided that voice chat was something that they just didn't want to have existing in the game. So somewhere along the road recently, it seems like maybe the community or perhaps someone else has convinced them to change their philosophies, which is actually pretty cool. And it looks like they're trying to implement it in a way that will be very friendly to the user experience. And I would say that I am in favor of this decision for a couple of reasons. First off, the fact that it would be pretty much completely optional to use makes it so that it's hard to justify most of the downsides of implementing it. Anyone can choose to use it or not to use it, and the players who don't like it just won't use it. However, it's important that an expectation for using voice chat does not develop. If there's some level of expectation for everyone in a game to use voice chat, that can actually lead to a lot of problems, since players will be heavily discouraged from opting out of the system. So the fact that it's optional is great, and as long as it's truly optional, not just optional, but everyone on your team expects you to use it, then it's going to be okay. One example I would like to use is perhaps Overwatch's voice chat system. Overwatch does their voice chat system quite well, since it's easy to avoid and it's completely optional both in practicality and in actuality. I've never, not once in a single time, jumped into an Overwatch game and have people give me a hard time for not using voice chat. And as long as it's like that in League of Legends, it's going to bring nothing but positives to those who want voice chat to exist, and for those who don't want it, it's not going to bring any meaningful downsides. As well, one thing that is definitely a bit underappreciated when it comes to voice chat online, and especially in games, is that being able to use voice chat amongst your teammates, it really humanizes every single individual. It really does humanize people in the sense that everyone's just going to be much less likely to be toxic and rage at each other. Sure, there's definitely going to be some people who still do, but the amount of people flaming over voice chat is by far a smaller fraction of the amount of people flaming over text chat. It's much easier to see and treat your teammates as legitimate human beings when you can connect a voice to the person behind the screen. And although a lot of people cite toxicity as a potential problem with voice chat, I don't think it's as bad as it seems, at least not on paper. The flip side to that is when someone is toxic on voice chat, it can be a lot more hurtful than when someone is flaming or raging over text chat. So there's kind of a trade-off there, but toxicity overall almost certainly goes down when there is voice chat, just because it's so much easier to treat someone like a legitimate human being and just be nicer to them when you actually hear their voice and you kind of develop that connection on that sort of almost personal level that voice chat brings. Think of some of the things that people say over text when they flame. I mean, how many of those people would honestly say that kind of stuff to someone's face? I mean, certainly not as many people that would type it, that's for sure. So the biggest problem for toxicity that might develop if voice chat does get introduced that I could see is people being toxic at someone for not using voice chat in like a ranked game or something. So again, it's just really important that the expectation of all your teammates using voice chat does not develop. And this is usually pretty easy to accomplish on the developer's end actually, doing something as simple as just making it off by default. And maybe a little bit complicated to turn on pretty much solves this problem completely actually. And we've seen that in a lot of other games, one example of course being Overwatch. Now in Overwatch, I personally don't use voice chat that often in public games, mostly because I'm just kind of shy to be honest, and it stresses me out a lot, so I just choose not to use voice chat most of the time unless I'm in a really social mood. And if voice chat gets released to League of Legends, I'll probably be one of the people who won't be using it that often. Now with that said, I'm definitely still in favor of it being released, and I do like this decision from Riot a lot, because it definitely does bring a lot more benefits to those who want it, and I understand that voice chat being added into the game is pretty much not going to affect me in any way whatsoever, and voice chat has certainly never hurt my Overwatch experience ever with the game. It's just, I just choose not to use it, and it stops there. As to what voice chat will do, it's mostly just adding a lot to the competitive experience of the game. A lot of people have justified complaints about how dynamic queue has made ranked much less competitive, and adding voice chat is a great step towards making League of Legends ranked especially a much more competitive environment, since when you use it, it's going to be of course much easier to communicate and make plays with your team. And the main problem with voice chat, which is just that it kind of can create a lot more problems with toxicity, aren't exactly true and definitely have solutions, and as long as it's implemented properly, should on paper be mostly irrelevant, or at least much worse than the already existing toxicity problems in the game are. It's interesting to see Riot change their philosophy though on something that's been somewhat of a controversial topic for a really long time with them, and I'm interested to see how it plays out and especially what you guys think. Maybe there's something I'm missing out on here, but it seems like it's going to be a pretty solid decision. Either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you didn't, hit that dislike, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.